Oh, kind of this is gonna this go You like my mask? I thought it was pretty cool. It's a Christmas gift from my boys. They this is the way. Hey guys, most of you know who I am from 310. Dr. Brian Campbell. My doctorate is in biomechanics, and so this is what I understand. This is what I do, and I want you to understand what I understand, and I want you to do what I do in this area. This is just a very short video to not only introduce the class. It's going to be like 310. Content and test. Content and test. I'm going to go over. This is going to be a short video, okay? But I'm going to go over kind of clearing the way of what the content is going to be. But the first test is going to be a 310 review, specifically muscles and how they influence motion. Why? Because I found in the past, you know, for college football, NFL football, they don't just go right into the first game. You have a preseason. You know, baseball, you have a preseason. You gotta practice. Even though you've been playing this your whole life, you still have to kind of have some muscle memory. In this case, some brain memory on some of the concepts because biomechanics piggybacks on those concepts. Okay, so this is going to be a blessing or a curse, right? It's going to be stuff you've kind of had already. So this is a chance for you to make an A on the first exam of the year because I need you to really understand this stuff so that we can move forward with individual muscles and their functions, okay? So what I have here is on the board the real important thing I need you guys to catch up with, and I'm going to post 310 videos just to kind of refresh again preseason to help you out. But the key thing is in textbooks, you'll see, and this is just miscommunication. This isn't me saying they're wrong. This is me just trying to clarify verbiage so that things make more logical sense when you apply these concepts, okay? So don't think of it as they're wrong. I'm just trying to clarify some content, okay? So let's look at a textbook and look at the biceps brachii, which is a muscle most of us are familiar with. They're going to use this A word, A for action, O for origin, I for insertion, N for the nerve that innervates it. Action. Flex the elbow. You see that right there? Action. Now, muscles have a purpose, but if you say that the purpose of that bicep, if the action, doesn't action infer motion? And if you say the action, look, you see the book says the action is to flex the elbow. Well, two things there. One, every time I see flexion of the elbow, every time the elbow flexes, it's because of the bicep. The book's telling me so. So if I'm doing this exercise and I have flexion of the elbow, does that mean the biceps brachii was functioning there? It was doing a job? Of course not. You know, this is a tricep exercise. So the book is not very clear. It's cloudy. There's a lot of confusion. And the confusion is traditional means of talking about action or function loses the real function of the muscles. The function of the bicep is to pull. That's what muscles do, right? They pull. And not only that, they pull in certain directions of motion. And sometimes when they pull in that direction of motion, there is motion in their direction of pull. Sometimes the bicep does cause flexion. Sometimes. But sometimes the bicep is responsible for no motion at all, right? If I'm just doing isometric contraction here, there's no flexion or extension, but I know I feel my bicep. Well, that's a job, that's a function, that's an action. And then sometimes, as we know, if I let the weight down, I still feel it in my bicep. But oh my God, the motion is not flexion. The motion is extension. So I've introduced the problem with unclear verbiage. The true purpose function, action of muscles isn't a specific motion. It's a direction of pull in a direction of a motion. It may sound confusing, but it's really not. Think about an elevator, right? I use this analogy in 310, but it's very important and easy to understand. Elevators not only make you go up, but they also let you come down. In fact, sometimes they just keep you from falling down. There's no motion at all. So why would we call an elevator if sometimes it comes down and sometimes it prevents you from falling down? And that's because the cable, that big strong cable that's responsible for influencing motion in both ways, pulls up. It pulls in the direction of elevation. But its function isn't necessarily just to make you go up. Because in addition, its function is to prevent you from falling down and to let you go down. So what is its function? What's one way we can say all of those things without excluding two of the three options? An elevator is called an elevator because of its direction of pull, not because of the motion it causes. So how do we remedy, earthquake, how do we remedy direction of pull with motion? Contraction. So in other words, the books will just say this muscle is responsible for this motion. No. A specific muscle can have a specific action through a specific contraction. They leave this part out. And I'm here, and this class is here to put that part in so that you can truly understand that a bicep is called a bicep not because it always produces flexion, but because it always pulls that way. And when you pull in the direction of flexion, you can cause flexion through concentric work. You can keep it in a flexed position or prevent extension through isometric work. And then, drum roll please, you can allow extension through eccentric work. Guys, think about it. Bicep flexes the elbow. In isometric work, the bicep's doing a job and I don't have flexion. In eccentric work, the bicep is doing a job and I don't have flexion. So 2 out of 3 times, out of all the options that the bicep can do as a function, 2 out of 3 times it ain't flexion. That is important to understand when you guys go off into your various fields, coaching, athletic training, therapy, to understand that it's not just the muscle's function in terms of muscle causes motion. You gotta include that other part of the equation. That's like saying a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared, right? The famous Pythagorean theorem. That's like just taking away the c squared and say a squared equals b squared. Muscles influence motion through contraction. So the only logical way to infer all of the different contractions, all of the different options for a muscle, is to classify the function. Now, why do I say function and not action? Because in isometrics, there ain't no motion. That's my delcum coming out. There's no motion in isometrics. And action infers motion, right? So you're kind of behind the 8 ball already. What's the action of this? Well, what if it's not moving? I'm confused. There's no motion. Function is purpose. What is the function of a muscle? What's the purpose of the muscle? And sometimes the purpose is to cause motion in the direction of its pull through concentric contraction. Sometimes the purpose of a muscle is to prevent motion, isometric contraction. And sometimes the purpose of a muscle is to allow motion, to let it speed up slower than what gravity can offer, or to slow it down against an external force. All 3 of those are different purposes of the same muscle. So how do we wrap all of that into a box and tie it up with a nice bow? We talk about a muscle's purpose with direction of pull, because in all three cases, the muscle is pulling in the same direction. Different contractions that influence different motions, but in all three, they still pull the same direction. Elevators pull up, whether they make you go up, prevent you from falling down, or let you go down. To summarize that concept, what's the purpose of an elevator? Oh, to bring you up. I could take the stairs for that. And what if I wanted to come back down? Is the purpose to bring me up while I go down? The function of an elevator cable is to pull up. And by pulling up, it can make you go up through concentric work, analogy for the elevator. It could prevent you from falling down with isometric work of the elevator, or it can let you go down through eccentric work of the elevator. The function of an elevator cable is to pull up, not necessarily to make you go up. Super duper important, guys. Okay, so let me break down your 4 exams. Your first exam is going to be a 310 review. This stuff, I need to make sure you understand how muscles function. Their function is their direction of pull, and they influence motion through contraction. Okay. Then after that, we're going to go into specific muscles. We're going to start at the cervical vertebra. I'm going to teach you about major muscles here. Trunk, I'm going to teach you about major muscles. Then we're going to go to the lower extremity, because the lower extremity is a little easier than the upper extremity. Upper extremity is crazy. After we do those muscles, then I'm going to test you on upper extremity muscles. What's the function of the supinator muscle? What's the function of the brachioradialis? What's the function of the palmaris longus? We're going to go into specific muscles. I'm going to show you how they work. And by work, I mean what is their function. Okay? And then after that, the final exam, or the last content, is going to be biomechanics, physics kind of stuff, right? We're going to talk about vectors and scalars and trigonometry, research equipment in biomechanics. We're going to talk about levers and all those kind of things is going to be the last part. Okay? As always, if you have any questions, let me know. I'm going to post some review videos for you guys this week. And we're going to start new material next week. So this is going to be preseason. All right, guys, be well.